like to always focus on the positive, and I was just so impressed with the resiliency of people across the globe. But also, as you all know, one of the things I talk about is heart and diplomacy. And when everyone around the world was going on pause and watching Andrea Bocelli's beautiful concert in Milan, we came together, and we have to remember the moments when we came together, because that's where we really need to start from. It needs to be the underlying principle of any time we face a challenge. I think the other thing that I believe fundamentally is that free markets work. We saw companies in the United States that did extraordinary things. And it wasn't the CEO, it was the person in the grocery store, it was the truck driver, it was the technician at a hospital. And so the flexibility for people to come up with creative ideas on how to solve problems at all levels in society truly demonstrated that we can work our way out of a box, but we have to have the flexibility to do so.
Well, I'm not a medical professional, so I really can't speak to the science of the COVID pandemic. The one area I think that I was most dismayed with was the political influence that was very early kind of put on top of information that was coming out about the pandemic and the threats to your individual health, the development of vaccines and stuff like that. There was a great deal of swaying of political opinion through our public opinion through various political points of view that I think were not very helpful. That leads me to believe that when you try to look at organizations like the United Nations to take a lead in this effort, I do not think the United Nations has yet demonstrated a degree of integrity on topics like this, that you could really put a lot of faith in what they're trying to tell you. I don't think we yet know the true facts about the when and how the pandemic started, originated, and spread. And until we have, I think, a more truthful understanding of those facts, we really won't have identified what the real lessons to be learned are from this pandemic and our response to it. So the key thing here is we need to have more integrity in our political system to know when it's best just to stand back and let the scientists and the professionals deal with the problem and not try to interject their own personal political views into the public discussions.
And so I think of the things, as I mentioned, that, to learn from COVID was that to deal with it successfully depended on everybody on the planet really understanding what it was and what we needed to do collectively to deal with it. And because if only part of the population works against the disease, it doesn't work for everybody. And so we need this sense that, well, we really are all connected to each other, and we need ways to better think about and do the kind of things that we have to do in order to overcome this. And already we're seeing with climate change, with other huge issues, these, they're here. It's not like, in the future we're going to have to deal with that. Not only pandemics, climate change, and others, including the, rampant violence among us, these things need addressing, and not everything will have a simple vaccine in order to help. But all of them will take our mindset and our behavior to change in ways that are more effective and more intelligent and more compassionate for everybody.
A lesson which has bright moments and also very bad moments. First of all, we learn of the fragility, the weakness of our society. In a few days, in a few weeks, we went from a normal situation to an emergency situation where people were dying by the thousands. We didn't have a vaccine, we didn't have an answer, and it was spreading, the contagion was spreading, and the economy was deeply affected. We had, in a few weeks, millions and millions of people out of work, and we really didn't know how to act, except that raising money and give them some money to survive.
As far as global challenges are concerned, certainly COVID is one, but of course we're still living within the influence of climate change, and I think this is an ongoing existential threat, and I'm sure there'll be others. So I think what we need to do is have the UN step up and play a more important role in our lives, because obviously with pandemics, this is a global threat, and it should be dealt with globally. And there should be no reason why some people get the vaccine like today, and then others have to wait 2 years for it. So that's definitely not. It's definitely not fair. And I think we should definitely kind of see to that there is a global response instead of just individual countries responding. So we can all get vaccinated at the same time, because again, this is something that if a population is left unvaccinated, then that virus will mutate and turn into something that we'll have to deal with all over again. And it's just a never-ending story.